Have you ever felt like you're fighting against invisible currents? Like some hidden force from your past is secretly shaping your decisions, your relationships, your whole life? Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a hard look at exactly what that force is.
And this is the core idea we're diving into. It's a pretty profound and, kind of unsettling thought, isn't it? The unresolved chaos from the past, it doesn't just evaporate, it gets passed on. It becomes an inheritance we might not even know we're carrying.
So what exactly is this invisible inheritance? Let's get right into it and give this hidden force a name so we can really understand what we're up against.
Okay, so it's called the legacy of entropy. Now, in science, the symbol for a change in entropy, which is basically a measure of disorder, is delta S. Here, it's being used to describe all that unresolved emotional and psychological chaos from our ancestors. And this is the really crucial part. This inherited static can get so loud, so powerful, that making a genuine, conscious choice can feel downright impossible.
Thinking of it as an invisible virus, that's a really powerful way to picture it. It's something we can carry without even knowing, and it can infect our lives and relationships, spreading from one generation to the next.
So all this theory is one thing, but how does this actually play out in real life? Let's look at a really powerful story from the source material that just perfectly illustrates the devastating power of this legacy. We're going to talk about John and Fleur.
So you have John and Fleur, and they were in love. And they had no idea they were both carriers of this invisible virus. Each of them inherited the unresolved chaos from their own parents' messy conflicts. They literally walked into their relationship carrying all this heavy, invisible baggage. And because of this inherited delta S, what should have been a source of joy and connection for them, it just became a trap. All those old patterns of fighting, the unresolved pain from their pasts, it all started to play out in their own relationship, turning it into this prison where history just kept repeating itself.
And this really shows the battle that was raging inside their lives. On one side, you have their genuine love, their real personal desire to be together. But on the other side, you've got the immense weight of that delta S, that inherited conflict. And in their story, tragically, the power of the past just proved to be stronger. And what happens a lot is that this inherited chaos finds a human agent, a person so completely consumed by their own unaddressed delta S, that they become this destructive force. In the story of John and Fleur, this external force completely shattered their lives. It's a really stark reminder of how this legacy can ripple outward and cause just real-world devastation. So you have to ask, why did this happen? Was it just some horrible bad luck? Well, according to the source, their tragedy wasn't an accident at all. It was inevitable, and it was driven by this powerful underlying principle. And their story perfectly illustrates the core law of delta S. If this inherited chaos isn't consciously found and eliminated at its source, it doesn't just fade away. No way. It will find a way to repeat itself. The pattern is just destined to continue, creating the same tragedies over and over and over again. Just let that sink in for a moment. It's a powerful, almost deterministic statement. Unresolved delta S is kind of like a program running in the background of your life, and it will always execute its code, repeating the tragedy. But what if? What if we could rewrite that code? And this brings us to the turning point. After understanding the problem, now we get to turn to the solution. Because there is a way to fight back against this legacy. There's a system designed specifically to break this cycle. So meet the hero of our story, the vector of conscious choice, or V+. If delta S is the virus, you can think of V+ as the antidote. It's a system that empowers you to stop being just a passive carrier of chaos, and instead become an active creator of what the source calls living order. A life and a reality built on your conscious intention, not on some inherited disorder. This is the whole key. This is what could have saved John and Fleur. They were trapped in that awful cycle of delta S because they didn't have access to this system. They didn't know how to make a conscious choice to create a different outcome. So how do we actually apply it? Well, the source gives us a really clear, actionable algorithm. Think of it like an operating system for your life, designed to put this vector of conscious choice into practice. It's called Navigator 511, and it's a 3-step process. Okay, step 1 is all about awareness. You have to consciously identify the specific inherited chaos, the delta S, that's running in your life. Step 2,
That's the intervention. You actively apply the principles of V+. That means you intervene in the old pattern with a new deliberate choice. And step 3, that's the result. Through that conscious action, you begin to create living order, a life built on your decisions, not on your inheritance. And this is really the ultimate takeaway here. The story of John and Fleur is a tragedy, for sure, but it's also a powerful lesson. It shows us the price of ignoring delta S, but it also lights up the path out. Now, you know there's a choice. You know that to break the cycle, to escape the trap, you need to apply vector V+. So, everything we've talked about really comes down to this one question. We all inherit something. Some chaos, some legacy of entropy. But now that you know this, the choice is no longer unconscious. Are you going to be a passive carrier of an old legacy, or are you going to be the conscious creator of a new one? What legacy will you choose?